Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking about a critical warning for all you dumpies.
Ooh, listen up.
Guys, we try to get your attention and warn you on certain things not to do after a breakup. We have over 2,000 videos.
Wow. That surprises even me.
Yeah, I know. And it's really like 2,500 when you're including both channels.
Oh, yeah.
And we have been doing this for a long time. Coach Victoria was with me the first day I sat down to record.
It's true.
Yeah, before the channel was even launched, she was here, and we were talking about breakups long before the website was up, the channel was up, anything. We've been talking about this stuff. And so we know what works and doesn't work. And many of you are so anxious that you're going to your friends and family for advice, and they're going to steer you in the wrong direction. And I have a good email coaching that's going to be another example of not listening to your friends about how to handle a breakup. If you want to talk to them about the breakup, that's fine. It's understandable you want to get it off your chest, but don't listen to their strategies.
Yeah. And it could be tough because your friends and family, they're your support system. So, of course, you want to divulge all the details, and everyone's going to have an opinion. Everyone's going to have a thought on what you should do next and how to make things work. And they'll have all these ideas. You have to remember that a lot of times they also have biases towards you, right? They want to protect you. They have their own ideas and their own relationships. And the advice that they're giving you, they don't know what it's like to be you and in your situation.
Yeah.
And the advice that they give you is going to be based on their experience, right? Not experience working with breakups every day.
Yeah. You want to kind of look at it like this. If you're having a heart issue, you want to consult professionals like a doctor. You don't consult your friends on what to do with something they're not trained on. Same thing with a breakup. Your friends and family, they often tell you the opposite thing of what you need to do. Unfortunately, many of you are learning that the hard way, including someone right here that's sharing their story with us. They said, "Hi, Craig. I'm glad we had a chance to speak yesterday regarding my ex and the current changes in events." So we did a coaching together. We did a Zoom call. We talked about the whole situation and the strategies and what to do. And this email is after our second call. He did not follow my strategy. He listened to his friend's advice. So listen to what happened. As discussed, it was a mistake to listen to my friend and text her in early January after I had been in no contact since November. It was a simple and light text, quote unquote, "Hey, Happy New Year. I just tried to call you, but it didn't connect and I couldn't leave a voicemail. I'm hoping all is well and we can talk soon." So that was after I advised him, don't reach out. You want her to miss you. You want her to reach out when she's ready. He said, "As you can imagine, after I sent the text, I felt like I had made a huge mistake. And after several days with no response, I felt even worse, which prompted me to schedule another session with you. Like we discussed, part of this was to hopefully get closure, if nothing else." This is big, right? You guys convince yourself that you want closure, and we warn you.
Yeah, many of you aren't prepared to deal with the anxiety that comes if you don't get a response back.
That's right. So what happens? Like we discussed, part of me was, this was to hopefully get closure, if nothing else. But instead, the silence left me more frustrated than I had been before. I knew better than to reach out to her and ignored your advice and my better judgment. I hope that our session prompts you to do a video on don't listen to your friends when dealing with breakups. Like we discussed, their experience is limited, biased, and many times incorrect. Hopefully, I did not put myself in a worse position than I'm already in. Thanks again for the coaching. It was good talking with you. So I followed up with an email. I wanted to ask him a couple more questions to expand upon it. So he said, I subconsciously used it as an excuse to reach out. He kept telling me to, this is what the friend told him, to quote unquote, man up and just put my cards on the table. That if she still had feelings, she would reach out, and if not, then I had my answer. Unfortunately, it's not as cut and dry as that.
And don't get me wrong, there are times where direct communication is really important. And this is where actually a lot of therapists can go wrong too. You know, they see a breakup and they're like, oh, write a letter. Let's talk about it. We're supposed to talk about it, right? But they're not thinking about this is not an active relationship or an active connection. This is now a breakup. Somebody has unilaterally decided to end the relationship, and we have to respect that.
Yeah.
Many therapists aren't trained specifically on breakups. They may be trained with working with families or with couples, but a breakup is something really specific. It's a rupture. It's someone's unilateral decision to end the relationship, and it comes with its own set of issues and own set of ways of navigating and working through it.
And they're not trained on how to reattract an ex. That's, if anything, we should be the ones doing the training. Honestly, if there was a course on breakups, we would be the ones teaching it.
And we do have many counselors and many therapists that do recommend us to their clients. There's many clients that I've had that they've said, oh, my therapist found you guys and thought that you'd be helpful to me. So we're glad that we could be a resource in terms of breakups.
There's a little bit more here. Okay, so I asked him why you thought your friend might know better than I did, even after our coaching. And he said, basically, there was no reason. Subconsciously, I used his advice as an excuse to reach out for an answer based on our conversation that I had back in October. They had discussed, we'll talk about it in January, something like that. But I told him if she wants to talk about it, she's going to reach out. And I asked him, what kind of obsessive thoughts were you having? He said, obsessive in the fact that I was watching and listening to breakup videos, trying to make sense as to why she would lead me to believe we were going to talk in January, but then failed to respond to several messages earlier on. Well, that's just what happens. People tell you how they're feeling at the time of the breakup, and they're like, we're going to talk in June. And then you're like, for 5 months, you're like, oh, okay, June, we're going to be talking about it. And then June comes and goes, and like, we didn't talk. I thought that they said they wanted to talk in June.
And a lot of times it's about kicking the can down the road. It's about, I'm avoiding this issue. I'm going to put it on a random day on the calendar to deal with it then.
Yep.
And the bottom line is they're not able to face that conversation. They're not prepared to have it, whatever else might be going on in their life and within that relationship. But yeah, sometimes exes will make promises even, oh, we'll talk in 6 months, we'll reconnect. And then you see that there's no follow through.
Yep.
It makes more sense now as to why he did reach out. I still don't think it was a good idea because I agree that it would have been a lot more powerful for it to come from her, especially since it sounded like it was her idea to reconnect in January.
Yep.
But now it's making a little bit more sense.
Yep.
So he had this almost like unfulfilled promise that he was
I
trying to hold her
told him,
to. And I fell down that same rabbit hole during a breakup before too. I was like, you promised me that we would be together forever.
I've got the receipts.
And so I get it. You know, when we have our hopes up in that way, especially on a specific timeline, that can be really heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. I also want you, bigger picture, to realize that if somebody says, hey, we're going to talk 6 months down the line, and they don't keep up with that promise, what does that say about how they treat commitments to you?
Well, people talk in terms of how they're feeling in the moment. I mean, think about it. They make these vows at, in front of all their friends and family at a big ceremony, and then they don't stick to those vows, right? Why is that? Because people really struggle to stay committed to feeling the same way and following through with that, right? There's a little bit more here to this email. I said, did you think that reaching out would make you feel closure? He said, yes. I thought it would. I thought would it have elicited a response from her. I said, now that you did reach out, do you feel that it actually helped with your closure? No. Only that it prompted me to schedule a second coaching session with you, which then helped to put things more into perspective and potential timelines if she was going to reach out. I said, do you think that regret would have been more powerful, meaning for her? And he said, the regret is more powerful. I would rather have just waited to see if she reached out on her own than to have her not respond and leave me with the same unanswered questions. I said, I really want people to hear what you were going through when you were listening to your friends advising you. He said, I think this is an important topic to discuss. I have both male and female friends providing me with their own insight as to her actions, but in truth, no one can explain her actions but her. The best advice came from the coaching session because the experience that Craig has come from years of real-life coaching, not just textbooks. This type of knowledge is invaluable in any type of profession, especially when people are so variable.
When we're going through a breakup, sometimes, especially if we're more anxiety prone, we put on our researcher hat and we try to predict.
Yes.
We say, I'm going to gather as many opinions as possible and see which one sounds the most right. We're trying to get all different perspectives, and we're trying to really get a good grasp of what happened in the breakup so that we can handle it the best way possible, and how to craft our texts with the perfect words and spacings and sentences and grammar and syntax and all of that. So we really get into it. And I can understand having that opinion from a friend, especially somebody who's very influential. We all know that one charming friend that can get us to do all about anything. And so we're like, man, that does sound like a really good idea. Let's do that. But he's right in the sense that, everyone's going to have their own opinion, their own bias. And just because somebody speaks very passionately about something does not always mean that they're right.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
We talk about this. Yes, we are passionate, but we've also seen situation after situation after situation. We've seen so many different types of breakups.
Yeah.
And
it's
so,
like all the chiropractors out there giving advice on heart medication and taking statins if you have high cholesterol. Yeah, I hear the doctors, the heart doctors are like saying, why are you listening to chiropractors? It makes no sense. And yet they continue to act like they're experts. So your friends and your family, they think that they're well-meaning and they think they're giving you the best strategy, but oftentimes they make things worse, like in this case. There's just one little bit more to this email. I said, do you feel like it made your situation worse? And he said, in some ways, yes. My reaching out reassured her that I still have a continued interest in our relationship, and by knowing that, it suppresses her fear of me moving on if that still matters to her. Now, I came up with those questions in about 30 seconds. I just came up with a bunch of questions to send him off the top of my head. I didn't realize he was going to answer in this format. Otherwise, I would have been more thoughtful in it. But you're hearing it from somebody that listened to their friends and family, reached out again, got ignored. Guys, we know how tempting it is. We know you're anxious. We know you want answers. But a lot of times, this is what happens.
And we're also looking out for you, how you manage your anxiety, really your mental state. Many times you'll reach out to an ex impulsively, and then your own anxiety won't be able to handle it. So we have to be real with ourselves. I know there's many ideas that your brain will convince you of, that your friends and family will convince you of, but you have to be willing to protect your heart first. I know many of us will say, oh, well, I don't care. I'm just going to send this Hail Mary, or I'm just going to throw it out there because I need closure and I'm convinced that I'm going to feel this type of way afterwards. Hear it from us. We see the anxiety firsthand afterwards. We have to be willing to care for ourselves, and no contact can be a way of protecting our own peace and caring for ourselves. It's not that we're trying to say that there's anything super extraordinary about no contact. It's simply respecting someone else's decision. And so that's really the bottom line about it for us. And that's really the advice that we talk about, is respecting their decision, working on yourself. I know we talk about a lot of complex topics on the channel, but it's really quite simple when you get down to the bare bones of it.
Yeah. And your anxiety is going to make you want to do something, reach out, and think that the strategy is going to make you feel better, like in this case, and it made him feel worse. Yeah. All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.